Hello again. Thought I would show you what the city looks like at the moment, since I haven't done a video over here in a little while. Most of what has changed, well, first of all, there's not a lot that's changed, but most of what has changed was shown on Instagram some time ago. I just showed you a photo of what was going on over here. You don't need an Instagram account to look at an Instagram page, but for the many folks who don't want to bother with it at all, I thought it would be important to share, just what has been done. I changed a bunch of stuff with the track over here. It's just a much cleaner layout now. I won't go through all the individual specific things that I did, but just kind of continuing with what I had done. As of the last video, I did a little bit more optimization of the tracks over here on the yard side, and it just looks cleaner because it is cleaner. Less back and forth, less S curving. Everything is more straight, more parallel, just better organized. I actually end up getting a lot more space, usable space on which to park my rolling stock. I did take out one terminated siding down there to the harbor, or what's going to be the harbor area, but that's not a huge loss because the extra one that I had was fairly small and could only hold, I think, like 2 normal sized cars and 1 small car at the most. So that wasn't really worth the space it was taking up. It was taking up. But by taking that out, I end up with a much straighter shot from the main line. I've got a better crossover from the inner loop to the outer loop. I actually get a full bypass here, a siding that is connected at both ends to the main line of the inner loop rather than just being a couple of short little ones. So that's just more efficient use of space. I actually moved this part of the yard over here down just a little bit to give myself a little bit more room for the buildings that are going to go behind there, because it was kind of just going into their space a little bit too much. So that gives me some breathing room. So it just looks and feels much better to me. And since the train stuff is so important to me personally, this is good. This is good for my life and my happiness in life. And then another thing that was not shown on that Instagram update is over here. You see 2 passenger trains, which probably looks strange there. Let me take you over closer so you can see exactly what's going on. There you go. I think that explains everything right there. Added in siding to take up some space to make it actually useful. It's not a great shape. It's not a great space. It's not great placement. But it's so much better use of the space to actually be able to park a train in there, especially since I am getting closer to the need to make a 3rd passenger train from my main company. The whole white and orange and possibly gray color scheme. I want to make more of a short run, less high speed train to go on this same inner line. And I want to have space to park another train. And it's nice to be able to park it over there, over close to the stuff. Wish that everything was better. Wish that I had more space, but I don't. So, I'm making the best of the space that I have for me, for what I care about, and just setting it up to make me more happy with my stuff. So that's that. I think the work that I did in the previous video, or that I showed in the previous video, which helped to straighten out some of these tracks, helped with this a lot. Previously, these tracks were not exactly parallel. They're still not exactly parallel, but they're much closer. That made it much easier to get that all set up. And I think at various places around the city, I have pulled up more of the track that was connected to base plates. I've pulled it up to start, or to continue with the floating of the tracks around. Actually, that on the far right is more straight now as well, so that's good. But many places I've been pulling up the corners and the edges and the crossings and such, because like I said the last time, I do want to get all of the rail up above the base plate layer by one plate or one tile. So I will definitely do that. It's already helping because it's allowing me to just scooch things around a little bit as needed to make sure that it's all, you know, nice and comfortable and not strained, or at least a lot less strained than it had been in the past. But yeah, small, slow progress. I mostly just wanted to show you, you know, what has changed and really just what it looks like right now for folks who have, you know, just been waiting for anything on this. Not a whole lot to show, but all this down here I'm definitely quite more happy with than I was before. But that's just that, you know, not a whole lot else to see at this point. I already covered in my last video that I'm gonna switch to doing less interior builds on buildings so that I can make more progress on actual buildings and, you know, filling out the space with buildings, so that this will, you know, make some progress and I can start moving towards getting my downtown area worked on again as well. Actually, I did put the Octan service station back over in that corner where my shell one was before, but you know, it's just taking up some space. But I do want to get to my next skyscraper, but it'll still be a while. I'm gonna stop talking. I'm just rambling now. So thanks for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.